Hello and welcome back to latest Sinn. First, let me apologise for not producing a watch video for a while now. Thankfully, Uncle Hank has kept the channel ticking over with his LFC MatchDay videos. In this video, I'm going to do the way overdue, the Tudor Black Bay 41mm review. So without further ado, let's get straight into the review. The niggles about this watch, well, I would have loved this version to have come with a free NATO strap. Unfortunately, that was not available on this version. Only the previous version came with a free NATO. That's one of my first niggles. I really do think they've dropped a bit of a mistake by not including it with this particular version, but you should be able to still get it on the pre-owned market with the smiley face, which is to say self-winding rotor there. However, you've got to really depend on the seller whether or not he includes the NATO strap with the watch itself. I know that you can pick up NATOs from anywhere these days. Even some of my favourite YouTubers sell them. But, you know, for high-end watches, I do prefer to have the NATO made by the brand itself. Take my Amigo Dynamic, for example. I think I paid around £129 for this particular NATO strap. But for me, luxury watches should have luxury straps and luxury NATOs to accompany them on their journeys. Everybody's going to have their own view on that, whether or not these are worth the extra expense. But when it's a luxury item, I really do think you've got to put it in the right shoes, so to speak. Anyway, each to their own. Add to the debate below, guys. Do you prefer to have branded shoes for the the leather straps or the NATOs, or do you just prefer any? Another further niggle is that it doesn't have the Tudor Pelagos's diving slide extension, which is pretty much the only thing this watch really is calling out for. If it had that on the bracelet, if it did have that feature, wow, what a watch it would be. One niggle that some folk may have with this particular watch is the lack of date function, but I can honestly say the only time I've actually missed the date function is when I'm in the supermarket checking food expiry dates, and that's it. That's the only time I've ever missed the date function. I'll take design over functionality any day of the week. I think this watch certainly benefits from not having the date there. One small niggle that I have with the bracelet is that the fastener catches the steel there on the back of the bracelet, and as you can see, it slightly rubs against the casing, causing a dull effect. But as soon as I noticed this little rub developing, I've been careful ever since to make sure the base of the shield here doesn't connect with the bracelet when I'm removing the watch from my wrist. So that's just something to bear in mind. That's really the only issue I've had with this Black Bay since purchase. I haven't really developed any scratches along there, nor have I developed any scratches on there. But of course, this being highly polished, you are going to pick up the slightest of scratches. But so far, I've been lucky. But if you do end up scratching the watch, you know, at least from that point forward, you will always look at the watch thinking, oh, I know when I did that. And you tend to be careful from that point onwards. Now, some folk might not like the rivets in the bracelet here, but each to their own really. But if that's you, I would either purchase this watch on the NATO or go for the distressed leather deployment. I mean, I actually prefer the rivets on there because it kind of gives you that throwback look that's been achieved here by the dial. Of course, if you don't like that, same like the rivets on that side as well. If you don't like this, but you like the face, go for the leather strap. And here is the GMT on the leather strap, and it's on a deployment. Incidentally, the leather strap version with this deployment is the same price as the NATO version. So if it was me, I would probably go for the leather deployment. But regards to the riveted bracelet, You've got to understand that this watch is from a heritage line, and as a result it's obvious that some will like it and others don't. But I urge every prospective buyer of this particular watch to see the watch in person before hitting the buy button. After all, it isn't a cheap watch. Now, as of January 2020, the price of Tudors like Rolex have increased across the board. My purchase price was 2,670 in the summer of 19, and currently it is retailing for 2,840. That's an increase of £170. However, with that increase also comes the good news of an extended warranty period. That was 2 years when I purchased my Black Bay, and now it's moved to 5 years. So there's some good news in that respect, that the increase has led to an increase also in the warranty. So let's get into the watch itself. What do I like about this particular watch? Why did I pick it? I love the rose gold inserts on the dial, fine edge bezel, 60 click, and I think it helps to push down with 2 fingers to turn the bezel rather than trying to grip the outside of the watch. So there you go, and it's a nice smooth action. Zero play in this, absolutely zero play. You can get this watch in blue, burgundy or black, and if you're very lucky you can try and get the Harrods green Hulk version if you're lucky. Of course, this watch is down to 200 meters and it is cost certified. I've had zero mechanical problems with this watch. I absolutely love it to death, and I'm kind of becoming a fan of the Tudor brand now, hence my purchase of the Tudor GMT. Qualms that some people would have with the bezel is that it's not ceramic. I wasn't too worried about it scratching easily. I did have that problem with my Omega Seamaster. That did scratch quite badly, but not being a ceramic bezel hasn't caused me any problems to date. In fact, I do kind of prefer that particular look. Sometimes the bezel, when it's ceramic, it becomes a bit too blingy, and the watch then stands out to potential eye spotters. I kind of prefer my watches to go under the radar. I'm not one of those people that likes the flash watches off in public. I can tend to like the undercover watch, and this certainly fits that bill. Performance wise, the in-house movement in this is absolutely fantastic. It's stuck hovered around the -1 second per day, which is well within the cost certification. I do use an app called Toolwatch, and it's a very good app that helps keep track of how your watch is performing on a daily basis. And I do recommend to check that app out, because it's an easy way, fast and easy to track how your watch is performing. A major positive about this particular watch is that non-watch people haven't got the foggiest idea of who makes it and what the heck the watch is. And I like that. I do prefer, as I said before, watches that go under the radar. I know what it is, and I like the fact that hardly anybody else that's non-watch people know what it is, and that's good. And in some cases it becomes then a conversation piece, and it's not in terms of look guys, I've got the Hulk now, and it sits beside my Pepsi, ain't it cool? To me they're not, well, yeah, if you can get hold of a Hulk or a Rolex Pepsi, yeah, good on you. But for me, there's that slide of the collecting side that people will just buy a watch because it's a Pepsi, or because it's a Hulk, or because it's a Daytona. And that's not me, that's not Uncle Hank. We tend to collect watches that we personally like, and if it does happen to be a popular model like my Pepsi GMT, then it just happens to be a popular model. But I have had quite a few people noticing this Black Bay and asking what it is, and etc etc, and I kind of like that rather than the flashy bit where everybody knows it's a Rolex. So what drew me to this watch, and why did I buy it? Well, my favourite Rolex of all time is the Rolex Submariner 6538, as worn by Sean Connery as James Bond. But getting my hands on one of those watches, it's just never going to happen. So when Tudor first released the Black Bay in 2012, I wanted one. It hurt back. It's a homage to the 6538 in my eyes, and I wanted one. And I've tracked the model ever since with its clean, crisp dial. It's a proper diver's watch. Alright, it only goes down to depths 200 meters. But are you really going to dive that deep? Does it really matter? You know, you can check out my other video on what makes a good diver, and I'll put a link in the description and somewhere up top or below. So a good thing about the Tudor is it's a daily wearer. If, for example, I did manage to strike it lucky and get a Rolex 6538, you know, where do you think it's going to spend most of its life? You know, it'll spend most of its life in my safety deposit box, then on my wrist. So, in a good way, owning the Black Bay is a win-win situation for me. I get the look of the Rolex 6538, and I also get to wear it. So would I recommend you going out and splashing your hard-earned cash on a Tudor Black Bay? Yes, absolutely. I purchased this one from a Tudor AD, but I did so knowing that I'd never sell it. So resale value isn't really a problem for me. Although the Black Line is holding a good resale price, and with a yearly price rise on new ones, it's probably likely to stay that way. But as with any watch really, anything over the £1,000 mark, or even £500 mark for that, right? But any watch purchase, particularly a high-end watch purchase, you definitely need to go and see these watches in person, because sometimes the pictures on the internet and the browsers, they can look great, but when you actually get the watch in person, it's completely different altogether. The lighting, etc., comes all into play. So I always urge people to go out and buy the watch from the shop itself, or go to the shop, check it out and say, yes, I do like this, and then pick a bargain up off of the internet. But it's always best to pick up your watches in person. So that's it. That is my review of the Tudor Black Bay. As always, like, subscribe and all that, but the main thing is I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.
On my morning walk through the countryside, folks. Oh yes, I'm out on my own today. I'm hoping to find the perfect place to whip out my monster and give it a really good shake. I'm sure I remember there's a tennis court somewhere around here. Oh yes, yes, I found the tennis club. Oh, look at that. It's two beauties playing tennis, folks. Oh yes. Well, this seems like the perfect place to whip up my monster. Oh yeah, it's certainly an enjoyable place today. Oh yes. Oh, I can feel that rotor getting fully wound now. Oh yes. Oh, listen to that noise. Let's certainly go for it, folks. To the death, folks. They're going it to the deaths. Oh yeah. Oh no. My hand's getting a bit tad sore now. Oh. Just as well, really. I can hear some folks coming, and it's not the tennis players.